This is a spike drive. It's kind of just like a drive spur, but this is kind of the locating pen. And then these are the drive spurs. So it lets you turn, a lot of uneven, rough blanks. Look at this thing, man. Who was the massacre behind this thing? That's horrible. So we'll figure something out. But I mean, the setup on this thing's basically just like any other spur drive or whatever. You kind of just get the center. That'll clear, yep. Bring your tailstock support up. Will that clear? Oh, that's kind of... That'll work, huh? Turn everything down. That's the furthest leading corner out. And we'll just push this in a little bit until the drive's engaged pretty good, just like you would a normal drive spur. All right. Yeah, you're wonky. Your left-handed push cuts, because this thing's way out of balance. We're going to stay out of the line of fire. All right, see if we can get a little more speed out. All right, now I know that, kind of going off at an angle and doing the bottom and the sides is faster. But y'all saw how wonky this thing was, man. This thing was like a rectangle almost. It wasn't even an octagon. This was some bad chainsaw cuts. So, I mean, I just wanted to get it round first. That way I could turn up the speed, and then I can turn the corner and start, shaping. I am a firm believer in speed is your friend, man. It just really helps you with the smoothness of your cuts. It also helps you to not get so beat up by the wood. If I was trying to turn that octagon down under 500 RPMs, that would just be a miserable time. You need to have RPMs. You need to be safe. You need to know the limits of your machine and yourself. But at the same time, the faster you turn, the smoother everything is, the less feedback and damage you're taking. I mean, seriously, that slow chonk, 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 chonk just wears down on your shoulder and your arms. I like to true these tops up a little bit too, make sure everything's just kind of in round, true. Like I said, this thing was pretty wonky and out of shape. See what we're working with. Okay, this is that found on the ground wood I got. I don't know what type of walnut or whatever whatever it is. But it's cool looking. It's got some deep checking in it. Some spalting. Still got a flat corner. So, let's see if we can't get some of this away. We're up to 1,000 now. I mean, I'm not super fast. Right there at 1,000 is where I'm usually comfortable turning and shaping the bowl. I'll turn it up a little bit higher if I go to shear scrape, but when I'm actually shaping and contouring the bowl, I usually keep it about 1,000. And that's, talking about 10, 12, 13-inch bowls that I can fit on this 14-inch lathe. When it gets hard to see when all them shavings are built up, I'm looking up here. I'm kind of watching up here, not down here where the tool is. Still, yeah, that might just be, we might throw some CA, some black CA or something in those. Because I think if we try and turn that away, that's just, it's not going to pan out. It's not going to work. But other than that, we're getting a pretty decent surface out of this. It's not tearing out too bad. You can see I'm using pretty aggressive cuts. You know, all this stuff, it's pretty aggressive. I mean, it's not quite ½ inch, but it's getting there. Let's look to start thinking about making a tenon and flipping this thing around. Oh, I don't know if I want to make something cool. You can't see it. This runs right here. This guy here is showing 1/3 of the way down. That's gonna kind of ruin the rim. So before we even start with that, I'm going to take that down. Just is what it is. I knew this was a rough blank when I started with it. We got to take it down just a hair more. I want to be out of this, that ring separation. We are just at the very tip of it. Waste away half the bowl, but oh well. This thing is rough, man. It's been on the ground for a while. When I find good wood, it's just so hard for me to let it go, though. Like, I've got a whole backyard full of wood, and I won't get rid of stuff. You know, I'm like, oh, this might be good. This has potential, and I'll keep it and try and turn it anyways, even though I got a whole backyard waiting on me to get to it. Wood hoarding is real, and it's a real problem. I've never been good with this thing when this when we got the tailstock in here. I guess the trick is to stop being lazy and just pull your tool rest up to where it needs to go, huh? Make things work real smooth. All right, so while I got this here, I've been playing with things. I've been playing with grinds and everything. So what I got now was I started using the Varigrind again because I've been kind of butchering things. And so I put it at about, well, see, this guy's getting really short. So the Varigrind is basically right here, even if I do 1 3/4 inches. So I'm doing the Thompson style 1 3/4 inches. I got the leg angle at about 23 degrees and then a 50-degree nose on it. And it seems to be a pretty effective grind. And then while I was at it, I reground my my spindle gouge too. Like I said, I haven't been doing the greatest job platform grinding, so I need to get back into the groove of repeatable results. I really wanted to be kind of like the platform grinders, like, you know, Stuart Batty and all his kind of, I don't know what you call them, proteges or disciples, and kind of like Richard Raffin and Tomislav, how they freehand grind. But I was having problems with grinds not coming out the greatest and repeatability kind of issues, and I needed to get, you know, some turning done. So I went back to using the Varigrind jig is what I'm kind of getting at when I'm talking right there. I've been making tenons for, I thought I felt something weird. That's that ring shake. That's what I was trying to get rid of up here. It looks like, is that a pith? What is that? Or maybe the separation between dark or heart and sapwood? Maybe is that what's going on? I don't know. But I've got this line, both sides, that runs right through it. Oh, you know what? Yeah. I didn't even notice what this is. This is quarter sawn. Huh. Yep. Should be an interesting bowl. And that right there, friends, is how you know I'm still a novice. You know, I didn't even realize I was turning quarter sawn lumber until I actually had to sit there and think about it and was trying to diagnose a problem. And I noticed that heartwood and sapwood was joining together, and there was an issue with these. It's weird. It's cavitation. It almost ruined the bowl. You saw me have to take down almost 2 inches from the top, and then also, you know, a bunch down from the bottom in this tenon area trying to rework it. And then look at me trying to be all fancy and put like an OG curve in there, and I really don't even know what they are or how to do them properly, like the proportions and all that stuff. I know there's a rule of thirds. I really need to start studying a bit more on form, because I kind of just wing a lot of stuff, and I know it's not perfect because it looks a little bit odd when I see it. I think my buddy Matt Harbor,
for that little bit in that shoulder,
a pretty prevalent turner and an instructor in the area, he was telling me how, like, if something doesn't look right to your eye and in a lot of things in nature, it doesn't follow the rule of thirds then. And it kind of just sticks out and will bug you. It'll kind of just, you know, nag at the back of your mind. Yeah, we'll turn that around. Clean that up, maybe. I almost got most of this crap out. It's not going to go anywhere. It's sticking around for the long haul. I'm just curious what this thing will do right here. So I'm just doing some shear scraping right here to see how it cleans up and how it's going to look towards the end. Sometimes I picked up something from David Ellsworth where he doesn't usually do the shear scraping on the outside of the bowl till he flips it around, and it's actually mounted in the tenon because, you know, sometimes for whatever reason you're not running true, and then you go to put it in the tenon, and now all of a sudden you're running true and you got to clean up what you already did. I can't really feel anything because these guys, I feel them. But that ain't bad. We'll work with that. Yeah, if I formed the tenon right. Okay. And so this is spike plate, spike drive. I can't remember exactly what Lionel calls it, but it's Lionel Bedard. He's on Facebook all over the place. Up there in Canada. He's a real cool dude. I believe this says something like Cutter Masters. Okay. BellGreenwood.com. Made in Canada. If any of y'all are interested and want to check it out, it's a pretty cool little tool, man. Like I said, from a cool guy, you know, I always like to try and support the fellow turners that try and make innovations for the hobby. I always got to make sure if you leave this little guy on there that it's smaller than that. So it'll go in there.
Yeah, that's pretty good looking. Looks good and proper. Ooh. That's exactly what you don't want to do.
I typically don't fast forward through the hollowing because I like to see the ribbons flying. It's usually my most fun part of turning the bowl. So a lot of times I let it go at full speed and I just like to watch the ribbons fly. It's kind of my own personal little joy. Ever since I got a rim cut, man, I always round those off now. I make a big point of it to round those things off because it sucks having like a really deep it's almost essentially like a paper cut, like in the web of your hand for a week or two.
Okay, that don't feel razor sharp. All right, let's see what we got. Every now and then, man, you get some of that dark chocolate where it actually looks like regular old black walnut that's prevalent here in Michigan. Oh man, we might have to stick with this. Back it off a little bit, too much down towards the center. I think my tip's a little bit dull. We'll take one more good pass out of this. Ooh. Kind of weird because I did kind of a weird OG curve type deal. So I'm trying to kind of contour and match that. So I'm getting, like, this sucks. I'll give her a quick touch up. Okay. So I have this protruding 1 3/4 inches from here to here. This 50. Now this, they say it all the time. It's kind of hard to describe it where, I don't know if they're talking about this center line here or the top of this, but I index the top of this with the second notch, which puts the center line about right in the third notch. And that's what I grind with on this gouge. Seems to be working really well. Don't worry about the old grinds and all that stuff, but this is what the new one looks like. I don't know, man. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of looking at the outside of the bowl as I'm turning, trying to figure out the contour of this thing. Trying not to break the tip off, which I did. Okay. Oh, well. I actually did pretty decent. Maybe a little bit right here. Where are we at depth-wise? Surprised I did as decent as I did right there. Oh, I kind of wanted to shear scrape this a little bit. Maybe before I hollowed it. Okay. But that's a pretty nice thickness. That's kind of what's been aesthetically appealing lately. Well, let's see if we don't screw it up. Just trying to put a little bit of inward taper on that rim. Yeah. That's good. This is good up here. This is just barely thick right through here. Huh, interesting. That feels better. That feels a lot better. We might just clean that up with the, no, that's fine. Let's get the old butter knife out. See if we can't just fix. I don't know if y'all can see, I got a couple little transitions right here that aren't so hot.
So I kind of wanted to pull out and show, because sometimes it looks like I don't have very good control over my scraper, but what I actually have is I have it tucked up under my armpit, and it's trapped really good. It's not going to go anywhere in the case of a catch or anything.
Right in there. That's going to bug me.
See, like at this angle, it looks like really kind of reckless, but it's trapped and it's secure and it's safe. And what I'm doing is with my left hand, I'm holding the outside of the bowl with a paper towel, and that little bit of gentle pressure inward keeps the chatter from happening, and you're getting chatter marks on the inside of your bowl.
Got a little bit of that little nub. This guy, man, you can sit there 10, 15 minutes fighting with this stupid thing. Ah. Oh, see, that's why I was worried about some of this stuff poking through. Ah, man. Which means I have to put the super glue on it and then return that area right there. Bummer. You know what? I better do the outside too right now. Yep, it seems like it's going to be an issue, so let's nip that in the bud right now. I don't know if y'all can see this, but I want not much for fillers and stuff like that, but this thing's being a pain, so if it's going to be a pain, we're going to deal with it. And then we got them on the outside. Okay, we got Star Bond, medium. Ooh, man, this stuff's coming out already. Probably not a good idea to glue my jaws. Hit it with the booster. We hit it with the booster so that we can build up multiple layers if needed. I just find it easier than mixing epoxy and all that stuff. If you got the booster, the glue builds up pretty fast.
In hindsight, I think the epoxy or something else would have been better. The CA glue just didn't work out too well, and I fought and fought and fought with it. Also, in hindsight, I probably should have gotten a little Dremel out and cleaned up the sides of those holes, because it looked really jagged, and I don't know. The finished product, it's a beautiful bowl except for those little CA filling parts. I kind of dropped the ball on it. I think I'm just being particular and over perfect about it, but it bugs me. Especially with how much time was involved with it and how much effort I had to put into it, into persistence to follow up and go through it. This whole CA glue fiasco probably took an hour and a half, 2 hours to complete and work through.
See, the only problem is you got to get it down far enough so that you can't see where it stained the wood any. Like these guys, I got to get a little bit more. That guy's good. Those guys are good. This is all good. That's good. Okay. Now, hopefully I didn't screw the pooch and mess up the outside by it being too thin. We'll see. Hopefully we can shear scrape this.
This is a homemade negative rake scraper I made out of Amazon high-speed steel. It works pretty decent. I just need to contour the shape differently. It's kind of an odd shape and doesn't fit into most of my bowls.
I know it's rough.
Yeah, so that's why I use the paper towel, is so I don't chew my hand up. But it's got those bug holes, or that, you know, I put the CA in there, so, and then it's got the holes, so it's a real rough edge, and you don't want to be grabbing onto that with your hand at 1,000 RPMs. I probably turned it up to 1,500 while I was trying to do the shear scraping and this internal scraping.
Just gotta go a little bit deeper with it, but it's cleaning up pretty good. A little bit left on the rim, the very rim, man. Oh, that rim wants to be difficult, man. Right there. Maybe the camera can see it right over here. It's bugging me. Okay. I need to reprofile that scraper. I mean, it does a good job. It's just the wrong profile, but look at that stuff. I wanted you guys to be able to see what happens when we put this Mylans on there. Make her pop a little bit. Now, I know the Mylans is good stuff because it stinks like good stuff. Man, yep, it's already dry. All right, we're gonna go to the top notch. I'm going to pull out all the stops for it. We're going to give it the Yorkshire Grit Original. We're going to give it the Yorkshire Grit Microfine. Or Microfine Yorkshire, Microfine, and Original. You know what I mean. You all know what I mean. Wow. Man. That is an intense looking bowl. That is wild looking. Yeah. I'm pretty excited. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, that's cool looking. This stuff. Can you all see this stuff right here? That's wild. I think it's something to do with the quarter sawn, because the maple was doing it with the quarter sawn bowls on them too. I think I used enough or too much of the lacquer, because now it feels like it. Doesn't quite feel like wood, so that's going to make me wonder what I want to put on top of it. I've never used lacquer. I don't know. I've got that Casey's gunstock oil. I got that antique oil, which will take the shine down a little bit and give it kind of a luster, a medium luster. I got that Waterlocks. I need to experiment something else with it. I don't know how to do the ones where I don't get a dust nibs, where you have to let it dry. I turn up the heat for this. We're at 1200. Want to burnish that polish in there really good. Yeah, I've never used lacquers. I've never tried them. Haven't had good luck with poly. Well, I've got like the Minwax wipe-on stuff. You know, the Minwax tongue oil finish and the Minwax antique oil. That's a basically thinned out wipe-on poly. I got the Birchwood Casey gunstock oil. I could try that. Crank her up a little bit more. I don't know, man. Sometimes this stuff is just as good as it is. You know, this Yorkshire's great product, man. I don't think it really needs anything else. We'll see. B, you're in my hood. Go outside. Okay, I can tell that the wood's not really changing color anymore, so let's do my thing. Come on, girl. Oh, yeah. There it is. That's what I'm talking about. Whew. Over my fingers, I can't see what my camera's doing. But there's the heavily spalted area. Here's not so much. So this would be the heartwood then. And then this is more the sapwood. Maybe it is just black walnut that's been heavily spalted laying on the ground. This stuff in here, man, see what I mean? It looks like digital camouflage. Maybe it depends on what angle you're at. I think it does. It's all figured right in through here. All right, cool deal. All right, we're back. Let's finish this guy up. Well, that is unfortunate. So that's going to do that the whole way down. Okay, I need to figure out how straight this is, how much we're going to take off, and then we'll have to fill that guy. I knew that was going to be an issue. I didn't know how much of an issue. Doesn't feel too thin. Well, I know it can't be too thin because that's... Okay. Let's get that rule out again. Okay. My dreaded spindle gouge. This is going to make things extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. So the idea is to fill up this void Okay, so there she is. All right, so there she is. Spalted, found on the ground wood. Man, I wish I could have somebody identify it. I know it's got to be walnut. I just don't know how to tell for sure. But like the heartwood is totally gone, you know? And then this is like getting out towards the sapwood. Quarter sawn. So it's got that real kind of interesting 3D digital looking stuff going on out around here. Especially right here though. See if I can get that on the camera good. Some nice little figure up in there. It's kind of weird. The figure stops as soon as the heavy spalting starts. That's unfortunate here. But still overall, it's a cool bowl. I'm happy with it.